HOA Karen Files fam. It's your girl back with a story that'll fire you up. Picture Pineville, Oregon, where Lisa Carter, a 32-year-old mom, planned the ultimate barbecue for her kid Cody's 9th birthday. Think burgers, bounce houses, pure summer vibes. But on July 15th, 2024, a fake HOA cop crew led by a Karen named Whitaker rolled in to shut it down. Talk about a buzzkill. Spoiler, they messed with the wrong family. This one's got drama, heart, and a small-town smackdown you won't forget. If you're all about seeing scammers eat dirt, stick around. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell to join our crew. Let's hit 1,000 subs. Drop in the comments. Ever had a Karen ruin your good time? Let's dive in. I'm Lisa Carter, 32, and Pineville, Oregon, is where I hang my hat. It's a town of 5,000 souls, where the diner's hash browns are greasy perfection and pickup trucks line Main Street like soldiers on parade. My husband, Nate, 35, is the guy you call when your lawn's a jungle. Broad shoulders, buzz cut, flannel shirts that smell like cedar and hard work. He's Pineville's lawn whisperer, turning patchy yards into green carpets. Our son, Cody, hit 9 this summer, and let me tell you, that kid's a firecracker. Brown curls, a grin missing 2 teeth, and a Pokemon card collection he treats like the Holy Grail. Mom, Pikachu could smoke Mutuo, he'll say, shuffling his deck at breakfast, eyes bright as the Oregon sun. We live on Juniper Street in a blue craftsman house, paint chipped enough to feel lived in. The backyard's our kingdom, a half-acre of grass where Cody's waged water gun wars, built stick forts, and dreamed of a treehouse since he was in diapers. This year, his birthday was my mission. Cody's had a tough run. New school, me juggling freelance graphic design, Nate pulling 12-hour days to keep the bills paid. I wanted July 15th, 2024, to be magic, a day he'd talk about till he's got kids of his own. Mom, can we have the biggest party ever? He asked, waving a Charizard card, his curls bouncing. Biggest? Kid, I was born for this. I went full-on party planner mode, channeling every Pinterest board I'd ever ignored. Picture the ultimate barbecue. Ribs slathered in Nate's secret sauce, brown sugar, smoked paprika, a whisper of cayenne, a bounce house so big it'd block the sun, a slip-in slide for kids to skid like they're in the X Games. I raided Costco for hot dogs, buns, and enough chips to sink a ship. Party City hooked me up with streamers, balloons, and a pokeball piñata Cody picked, his eyes wide as dinner plates. I ordered 60 cupcakes, blue frosting, sprinkles, the works, because Cody said, "Blue's the coolest, Mom." Nate rigged fairy lights across the yard, turning it into a twinkling summer dream, while I made playlists mixing Johnny Cash for Nate and Kids Bop for the Chaos crew. My mom, Diane Carter, 58, was my MVP. Mom's Pineville's heart, librarian for 35 years, keeper of every kid's favorite book and every town secret. She's 5 feet 2 inches, gray curls, cardigans older than my marriage, with a laugh that wraps you like a quilt. But cross her, she's a bulldog in loafers. Mom once saved the community center from budget cuts, raising $18,000 with a bake sale and a speech that had the mayor sweating. I saw her at the barbecue, flipping pancakes for Cody's buddies, maybe sneaking them extra syrup, her ghost stories ready for the fire pit. "You're going big, Lisa," she said, sipping her Diet Coke, eyes twinkling. "Mom, with you in my corner, we're untouchable," I replied, grinning. Planning was a marathon. I double-checked the bounce house rental, a red and blue beast that'd eat half the yard. Nate spent 2 days prepping brisket, smoking it 16 hours, till the neighbors were practically camping on our porch for a whiff. Cody helped me tie balloons, giggling when one floated off, yelling, "Pikachu's escaping." He drew invites on neon paper, tongue out, scrawling, "Cody's super awesome 9th," like he was signing the Declaration of Independence. I even booked a face painter, some college kid named Jess who swore she could do Pokemon designs. "This is gonna be epic," Cody said, taping a Squirtle poster to the shed. Epic didn't cover it. This was gonna be legendary. July 15th broke like a dream. 80 degrees, sky clear as glass, a breeze carrying pine and promise. By 9 a.m., I was up, hauling tables, Nate firing up the grill, the air thick with charcoal and anticipation. By 11, the yard was a zoo. 30 kids storming the bounce house, screaming like they'd won the lottery. Parents sprawled on quilts, trading stories about gas prices, the new principal, last week's fumble at the high school game. Cody was everywhere, Pikachu shirt soaked, lobbing water balloons, yelling, "Gotcha, Charmander." I was wrestling the piñata onto a tree when tires crunched gravel, loud enough to drown out Nate's Merle Haggard track. A white van pulled up, Pineville HOA enforcement slapped on the side in vinyl so tacky it looked like a kid's sticker book. Two guys stepped out, strutting like they'd invented swagger. Rick Malone, 40, was skinny as a rail, with a mustache that belonged in a bad 80s flick, greasy, curled, pure sleaze. Carl Hayes, 45, was heavier, buzz-cut gleaming, both in vests that screamed, "I Googled cop costume last night." Rick waved a clipboard, barking, "Lisa Carter? This party's unpermitted. Noise violation, $1,500 fine. Shut it down, or we're seizing assets." Carl cracked his knuckles, eyeing the bounce house like it was public enemy number one. I dropped the piñata rope, my heart slamming like a bass drum. "HOA," I said, wiping sweat and frosting off my hands. "We don't have one. This is our land, bought and paid for." Cody froze mid-leap, his curls bouncing, eyes darting to me like I'd know what to do. Parents pulled phones, murmuring, some filming, others whispering, "Who are these clowns?" Rick tossed a notice at my feet, crisp, official-looking, but the typos and blurry seal screamed fake. "New regulations," he snapped, smirking like he'd caught me stealing. "Pay up, or we're towing that grill, the bounce house. Hell, maybe the kids' piñata." The kids went quiet, water balloons forgotten, and Cody's face crumpled, his Pikachu shirt sagging. Parents stepped closer, tension thick as the barbecue smoke. I picked up the notice, my fingers shaking, not from fear, but rage. At 32, I'd scraped by on late gigs, hospital bills, Nate's overtime, but Cody's smile? That was my line in the sand. "You're not touching my son's party," I said, voice low, eyes locked on Rick. He laughed, but Carl's smirk faded, and I knew. This wasn't just a shakedown. It was war, and I was ready to fight dirty for my kid's big day. I was 2 seconds from tearing Rick's clipboard in half when Cody grabbed my hand, his voice small. "Mom, are they going to take my bounce house?" His curls were plastered to his forehead, Pikachu's shirt clinging to his skinny frame, and my heart cracked wide open. "No way, buddy," I said, kneeling to hug him, his Pokemon card poking my side. But inside, I was a volcano, ready to erupt. Rick and Carl weren't just crashing Cody's party. They were stomping on his joy, and I'd be damned if I let that slide. "You're trespassing," I said, standing, my voice sharp enough to cut through the barbecue chatter. I pointed at their van, its vinyl letters peeling like a bad tattoo. "Take your fake paper and get lost." Rick's mustache twitched, but he didn't budge, just leaned in, smirking like I was some pushover mom. "Big talk," he said, tossing another notice on the grass. "Pay the $1,500, or we start unplugging." Carl stepped forward, crushing my marigolds, his bulk blocking the sun. "Don't test us, lady," he growled, and the kids behind me gasped, their water balloons dropping like sad little bombs. Parents were filming now, phones up like a paparazzi swarm, whispering, "This is nuts." Nate set down his tongs, striding over, his grill boss, apron flapping. At 6 feet 2 inches, he's not the guy you mess with. He's the one who carries your fridge when you move. "You're threatening my family?" he said, voice low, the kind that makes you rethink your whole career path. Rick's smirk faltered, but before he could answer, the van's door screeched open, and out stepped the main event. Karen Whitaker, 52, Pineville's answer to a human migraine. Karen was a walking stereotype. Blonde hair teased into a helmet, fake tin glowing like a hazard sign. Blazer, so tight it probably had its own zip code. She'd rolled into town 18 months ago, buying cheap lots for a condo project that had turned Juniper Street into a soulless strip mall. Karen wasn't subtle. She'd leave notes about our trashy fences, lecture Mrs. Lopez about her roses, even complain about Mr. Jenkins' flagpole, which he'd flown since Vietnam. Nobody liked her, but she had a knack for making you feel small, like your mailbox was a personal attack on her vision. "Lisa Carter," Karen said, her voice syrupy, like she was selling you a timeshare to hell. She gripped a megaphone, holding it like a Grammy she'd awarded herself. This gathering is a violation, unpermitted, unsafe, a blight on Pineville's future. You owe $1,500, payable now, or my officers will shut it down. Officers? Rick and Carl looked like they'd been fished out of a dive bar, not a precinct. I scooped up the new notice, scanning it. Same typos, same junk seal, pure scam. You're no HOA, I said, ripping it to shreds, pieces fluttering like snow. Get off my property, Karen. The crowd went wild, parents clapping, kids cheering, Mrs. Lopez yelling, Damelo. Nate cracked a grin, but Cody clung tighter, whispering, she's mean, Mom. Mean didn't cover it. Karen was a predator, and my kid was in her sights. I stepped forward, ready to go full mama bear, but Karen raised her megaphone, voice blasting like a bad PA system. All attendees are fined, $600 each. Disperse, or face legal action. Legal action? The kids started crying, parents shouting back, and Cody buried his face in my sundress, his card slipping to the grass. Enough, Nate roared, his voice shaking the fairy lights. You're scaring my son, back off. Karen's eyes flickered, but she doubled down, snapping her fingers at Rick. Unplug that bounce house, now. Rick lunged for the cord, his clipboard flapping, and parents surged forward, yelling, no way. I grabbed Cody's hand, my pulse hammering, ready to tackle Rick myself. That's when tires squealed, and Mom's station wagon roared into the driveway, kicking up dust like a scene from Mad Max. Diane Carter, 58, hopped out. Cardigan, gray curls, loafers, and a glare that could stop time. She didn't even glance at Karen, just marched straight to me, hands on hips like I'd forgotten my homework. Lisa Marie Carter, what's this nonsense? She demanded, eyeing the van like it was a personal affront. I pointed at Karen, who was still squawking through her megaphone, her blazer shiny with sweat. This lady's claiming she's HOA mom. Wants $1,500 to let Cody's party go. Mom's laugh was a weapon, sharp, loud, the kind that makes you wish you'd stayed home. HOA? Karen Whitaker, you're about as official as my cousin's karaoke machine. The crowd lost it. Laughter, cheers, kids giggling, Mr. Jenkins banging his cane. Karen's megaphone wobbled, her fake tan paling, and Rick dropped the bounce house cord, muttering, oh, crap. Cody peeked up, tugging my sleeve. Grandma's gonna fix it, right? I grinned, ruffling his curls. Oh, buddy, she's gonna wreck it. Mom squared her shoulders, all 5 feet 2 inches of Pineville steel. I've lived here since Nixon, she said, voice carrying over the chaos. No HOA's ever run Juniper Street, and no con artist's gonna start now. She pulled out her phone, scrolling with the speed of someone who'd cataloged every book in Oregon. Let's see what the county thinks of your little stunt, Karen. Karen's jaw dropped, her megaphone limp, and I knew. This wasn't just a party fight anymore. It was Pineville versus a scam, and Mom was bringing the thunder. Mom's voice sliced through the backyard like a hot knife, and Karen's megaphone act collapsed faster than a bad sitcom. Diane Carter, you're meddling. Karen shrieked, jabbing her megaphone like it could fend off fate. Meddling? Oh, Karen, you just waved a red flag at a bull. The parents were all eyes, phones up like they were live streaming the Super Bowl, kids huddled behind the piñata, whispering. Cody gripped my hand, his Pikachu shirt damp, his bent Pokemon card poking out. Grandma's scary when she's mad, he mumbled, and I laughed, squeezing him. Only to bad guys, bud. Mom didn't flinch, just kept scrolling her phone, cool as a mint julep in July. Karen, you're not just a fraud. You're a sloppy one, she said, holding up a county record for the crowd. Juniper Street's been HOA-free since 2008, when we ran him out for finding Old Man Jenkins' flag. I've got the deed, public and proud. Want to read it? She flashed her screen, and the crowd went nuts. Cheers, fists pumping, Mrs. Lopez yelling. SOES. Karen's goons, Rick and Carl, started sweating through their vests, looking like kids caught with a stolen cookie jar. I grabbed my laptop from a picnic table, my graphic designer brain in overdrive. Time to peel this onion, I muttered, typing Whitaker's name into a search bar. Bingo, Whitaker Realty LLC, a cesspool of scams. Fake fines in Bend, forged leases in Medford, a 2023 fraud rap that cost her $12,000 and a slap on the wrist. She's a career con, I shouted, flipping the screen for everyone. Parents passed it around, gasping, Mr. Jenkins growling. She tried my sister last fall. Karen's megaphone hit her thigh, her orange glow fading to chalk, and Rick whispered to Carl, "We're toast." "Toast," Mom said, catching it, her voice dripping with "Don't even try it. You're not walking away from this." She stepped closer to Karen, 5 feet 2 inches against 5 feet 8 inches of blazer and bravado. "I called Sheriff Dan Brooks before I left the library. He's got a file on you, Whitaker, thick as my recipe book." Karen's eyes widened, but she swung back, voice shrill. "This is my jurisdiction. You'll all pay $3,000 fines. Every last one." The kids whimpered, parents booed, and Cody tugged my sleeve. "Mom, she can't do that, right?" I hugged him, whispering, "Not a chance." Right on cue, a cruiser rolled up, lights flashing, siren giving a quick yelp. Sheriff Dan Brooks, 60, stepped out, gray mustache, boots polished, the guy who'd once hauled a drunk coach off Cody's Little League field like he was flicking a bug. Dan tipped his hat, eyeing Rick and Carl like they were bad barbecue. "Trouble with fake cops," he drawled, hand on his belt. "IDs now." Rick fumbled, handing over a card that looked like it came from a Cracker Jack box. Carl's was expired, by 3 years. Dan snorted, pulling cuffs. "Impersonation, trespassing, and I'm smelling fraud. You're done." The crowd erupted. Whistles, cheers, kids chanting Sheriff Dan like he was a rock star. Carl tried to sidestep, muttering, "Just following orders," but Dan grabbed his arm, calm as a Sunday drive. Rick just froze, whining. Karen said it was legal. Karen's megaphone fell, cracking on the gravel, and she screamed, "This is tyranny. I'll sue this podunk town." Nate laughed, flipping a rib on the grill, the sizzle mocking her meltdown. "Sue away, lady," he called, and parents cracked up, their phones catching Karen's unraveling like it was Oscar-worthy. I lifted Cody onto my shoulders, his tears gone, grinned back. "We're okay, right, Mom?" he asked, waving his card. "Better than okay," I said, my own eyes wet. Karen wasn't done. She bolted for her van, keys jangling, yelling about federal complaints. Mrs. Lopez, 65, shuffled in front, brandishing her lemonade cup. "Not today, Senora," she snapped, and parents closed ranks, a wall of Pineville steel. Dan raised an eyebrow at Karen. "Running's a bad look," he said, radio crackling. Karen froze, her blazer sagging, and I swear I saw her soul leave her body. At 32, I'd never watched a scam implode so beautifully, and with Mom and Dan running the show, I knew the Real party was about to start. Rick and Carl were cuffed in Dan's cruiser, their vests looking like sad Halloween leftovers, but Karen was still a live wire. She stood by her van, spitting about defamation and legal armies, like she hadn't just been exposed as Pineville's public enemy. I held Cody close, his Pikachu shirt crumpled, his card bent but unbroken. "Is she gone, Mom?" he asked, eyes darting to Karen. "Not yet, buddy," I said, ruffling his curls, "but she's running out of rope." Nate leaned in, his arm around me, grill smoke on his skin. "She's history, Lisa," he said, but I knew. Karen was a snake, and snakes don't quit till you cut the head off. Mom climbed onto a picnic table, her cardigan flapping like a general's cape. "Pineville, we've got work to do," she shouted, voice slicing through the chaos. "Karen's not just after Cody's party. She's been robbing us blind." She held up my laptop, showing that email I'd found. "Karen to a developer. Juniper's ripe. Fine 'em out. Build condos by summer." The crowd gasped, parents passing phones, whispering their own horror stories. Mrs. Lopez raised a trembling hand. "She charged me $700 for my tomatoes," she said, eyes wet. The Pattersons admitted they'd paid $1,000 to save their son's skateboard ramp. My quick math. Karen's scam had bled $45,000 from our town, hitting the vulnerable hardest. I grabbed Cody's megaphone, poetic, right? And jumped beside Mom. "This isn't an HOA. I yelled, my throat raw. "It's a con, and we're shutting it down." The crowd roared, parents slamming fists, kids cheering, Mr. Jenkins banging his cane like a war drum. Cody tugged my sundress, holding up his Charizard. "Can I say something, Mom?" I handed him the megaphone, heart swelling. His voice squeaked, "Karen's a meanie. We want our backyard." The yard exploded. Laughter, claps, Nate wiping his eyes, blaming the grill's smoke. Karen tried slipping to her van, her blazer soaked, keys shaking. Nate stepped up, 6 feet 2 inches of pure, don't even think about it. Not so fast, he said, arms crossed, blocking her like a brick wall. Parents circled, phones blazing, and Mr. Jenkins waved his cane. Stay put, Whitaker, he growled. Karen's keys hit the gravel, her voice shrill. You'll all be bankrupt when my lawyers are done. Bankrupt? Lady, you're the one drowning in debt to reality. Mom turned our barbecue into a revolution. By dusk, 100 neighbors had shown. Lawn chairs, coolers, even a card table from the VFW hall. Pete, our guitar guy, strummed Sweet Caroline. Kids back on the slip and slide, their screams mixing with the music. I slung burgers while Mom laid out the plan. Petitions to kill Karen's condos, a class action suit to reclaim our cash, a march to City Hall to lock Pineville's freedom in stone. She thought we were weak, Mom said, her voice cracking with pride. But we're Pineville, we don't bend. I dug deeper online, finding Karen's LLC tied to a Portland firm with a trail of evictions and shady deals. She's been at this since 2022. I told the crowd, showing screenshots. Our homes, our kids' yards, gone for parking lots and coffee chains. The booze shook the fairy lights, parents hugging their kids, Mrs. Lopez muttering prayers. Cody, on Nate's shoulders, waved his Pokemon card. No condos, he shouted, and the crowd echoed, a tidal wave of small-town soul. Pete switched to American Pie, and we sang, voices raw, kids dancing, burgers flying off the grill. We worked past midnight, fairy lights glowing, Nate firing up ribs for the latecomers. Neighbors signed petitions, swapped stories, Karen's finds on birdhouses, flags, even a kid's chalk art. We planned a block watch, a legal fund, a Pineville Stays Free banner for the march. Cody fell asleep in my lap, his card clutched tight, and I looked at Mom, her Diet Coke still fizzing. You're a force, I said, grinning. She winked. Learned from you, kid. Karen was gone, slipped away when Dan's deputies arrived, but we weren't scared. At 32, I'd never seen my town so alive. Neighbors turned warriors, grilling, singing, ready to fight for Juniper Street. Karen's scam was crumbling, but Pineville wasn't leaving loose ends. Sheriff Dan didn't stop at cuffing Rick and Carl. On July 20th, 2024, he hit Karen's office, a trailer so sketchy it could have starred in a crime doc. Deputies hauled out a gold mine. Fake badges, forged notices, $30,000 in cash, and a laptop with files labeled Pineville Payouts. Karen was nabbed at a dive motel, still in her blazer, yelling about unconstitutional arrests as cuffs clicked. Her mugshot, hair limp, mascara streaked, hit the local news by noon, Pineville's new favorite wallpaper. The trial landed in November, and Juniper Street made it a holiday. The courthouse was packed, 100 neighbors, kids with crayons, Pete strumming Ring of Fire outside. I testified first, Cody beside me, his Charizard card in his pocket like a talisman. Karen didn't just crash my son's party, I said, staring at her orange jumpsuit. She tried to steal our homes, our peace. My voice shook, but I stood tall, for Cody, for Pineville. Mom went next, her cardigan swapped for a blazer, looking like justice in loafers. Karen Whitaker preyed on trust, she said, holding a fake fine, her voice clear as a bell. She fined widows, scared kids, laughed at our pain. But we're stronger than that. Karen's lawyer, a nervous guy with a bad tie, tried spinning her as misguided, but the evidence was a tsunami. Emails showed her plotting since 2022, targeting easy streets for condos. Rick turned state's evidence, spilling Karen paid him $6,000 to lean on folks. Carl just glared, his buzz cut sagging. The jury, 12 locals, from baristas to farmers, took 70 minutes. Guilty, fraud, extortion, impersonation, the whole rap sheet. Karen got 8 years, Rick and Carl 5 each, plus $75,000 in restitution. Judge Harris, 70, looked at Mom. Diane Carter, you're Pineville's backbone, he said, gavel slamming like a thunderclap. We poured onto the courthouse steps, hugging, crying, Pete leading country roads, with half the town singing. Cody high-fived Dan, yelling, "We won, Sheriff." Dan grinned, ruffling his curls. You bet, kid. The win wasn't just a verdict, it was a rebirth. Restitution checks rolled in. Mrs. Lopez replanted her tomatoes. The Pattersons built a skateboard ramp that'd make pros jealous. I used our cut for Cody's dream. A backyard fort, sunflower yellow, with a Pokemon flag he stitched with Mom. Needle poking his fingers, but grin never fading. Pineville threw a no HOA forever bash on December 1st, 2024, shutting Juniper Street for the barbecue to end all BBQs. 5 grills roared. Nate's ribs, Mr. Jenkins' pork, Mom's sliders stealing the show. The bounce house was massive, the slip and slide a kid magnet, sending Cody and his crew flying like wet rockets. Pete's band played till 1 a.m., neighbors dancing under fairy lights, kids chasing glow sticks. The mayor pinned a Pineville hero medal on Mom, her cardigan back, her smile brighter than the bonfire. To Diane, he toasted, and we raised our cores, cheering till our throats hurt. Cody ruled the fort, his Pokemon cards spread like a battle plan, declaring, "This beats everything, Mom." I pulled Nate for a dance to Brown-Eyed Girl, his hands warm, ribs grease on his flannel. Karen's condo scheme? Dead. Her lot sold to a trust for a park, with swings, slides, and a plaque for Mom. Juniper Street stayed ours. Bikes, weeds, Mr. Jenkins' flag flying high. I sat with Mom at dawn, Cody's laughter echoing from the fort. "We did it," I said, passing her a Diet Coke. She clinked it against my coffee. "We lived it, kid." At 32, I knew Pineville wasn't just a town. It was a fortress, built on brisket, badges, and a kid's Pokemon dream. Unbreakable by any Karen or fake cop. Holy brisket, Pineville cooked Karen's scam and served just as hot. Lisa, Cody, and Diane turned a barbecue crash into a town legend. How's that for small-town swagger? If this fired you up, smash that like button and spill in the comments. Ever grilled your way through a Karen fight? HOA Karen Files is your spot for real folks owning scammers. So hit subscribe and ring that bell for more epic takedowns. Next week, we've got a Karen banning a kid's lemonade stand. Oh, it's juicy. Thanks for rolling with us. You rock stars. Share this with your squad, and let's keep the Karens running. Catch you soon.